here in Vegas right now for the Mr. Olympia. It's so funny, man. You come to the airport, and you know, Vegas always has like a melting pot of people, right? They're coming through, and it's so funny to watch people here in the airports, because there's either one or two people. They're really excited because they just arrived, or they're really down, not knowing how they're going to explain this story to their family or to the boss. They lost everything, or they're just like comatose and, you know, still like half messed up. And I don't know, people always, you know, brag about Vegas. I think Vegas is slow death. You know, as soon as you get here, you slowly start to kill yourself because there's too much temptation and stuff right out that window. But I got a video blog for you from someone as far away from Vegas as you could possibly be. This comes from Nick. He's in Denmark. He goes, "Hey Greg, thank you for sharing your experience with us. It's a great motivation to surf around your webpage. You're just a great guy with a great view in life. You're simply awesome. My question is about protein. You say that you only eat one big meal a day at the moment, and I suppose that you're having a protein shake 4 or 5 times a day. Can you please comment on when, how much, how often, and so on, that you're having your protein bar / shake or whatever, and maybe give us some good advice about protein. Thanks so much. All the best, Nick from Denmark." Now, we just talked about recently about carbs, right? And we talked about fats. Why not talk about proteins right now? And proteins are probably more complicated than anything else. Proteins are by far the most fundamental asset of every living cell in your body. Meaning the cell, no matter what cell you're talking about, no matter what function in your body, it doesn't exist. It can't happen without protein. They say your body is made up of like 90% water, right? Well, the cell, the individual cell, a dry cell, when you take that water out, 50% of the weight of that cell is protein. And when I say protein, like, what are we talking about? I mean, you guys are always talking about, oh, what kind of protein? And seeing what Nick is saying, what kind of protein do I need to build the size? That's one of many parts of different proteins. Different types of proteins. The catalyst of every cell formation and stuff is called an enzyme. What is that? That's the protein. What transports all your gas throughout your body, your oxygen, your breathing and stuff, your hemoglobin, protein. Your hormones that regulate your body's function and your metabolism and everything else, protein. What else we got here? The stuff that for you know, keeping your skin and everything formed, you know, keeping it tight so you don't get the wrinkles and stuff. Collagen, protein. That slowly goes as you get older and starts wrinkling. All protein stuff. Your hemoglobins, which produce your antibodies that fight all your immune systems. Proteins, guys. But the protein that we are always considered about is the mechanical work of a protein. The protein used to actually lift something, push something. That's the actin and myosin protein. Those are the two protein filaments inside the smallest element of the muscle called sarcomere. And I've told you this time and time again that they're linked and then they rip when you work out, and then they have to grow back, elongating the muscle, enhancing the growth of the muscle. So proteins are huge, right? But what exactly is a protein? Let's think about this. You know, because you don't just eat protein, right? Now, protein in all these different forms, how can a protein carry so many different characters, you know? Well, they're made up of all amino acids. And amino acids, there's 22 amino acids in the body, right? Only 13 of which your body actually can generate and make themselves. Meaning there's 9 essential amino acids that your body cannot produce. Meaning you must have an intake of those through food to get those types of proteins in your body. Now once you get those proteins in your body, what happens? Well, it's called protein synthesis. Meaning you eat something that's high in protein, whatever type of proteins. And there's a lot of different forms of protein. Where do you get the proteins? Normal food, before we get into supplements. Your proteins are like your meats, your fish, your poultry, chicken, that kind of stuff. Your vegetables, your eggs, your milk and dairy products, your cheeses. All of them are loaded with proteins. Different types of proteins forming different types of functions in your body. When that comes down, the amino acids, and those amino acids, a protein is a chain of amino acids. The smallest form being a peptide, which is about 200 to 300 amino acids in a chain, right? Now those chains can build up to be bigger proteins called polypeptides. Those polypeptides can go up to, like, there's a peptide called Titin peptide, which is the largest type, which is over 100,000 amino acid chains in there. I mean, it's mind-blowing how amazing our body works and everything else. But each protein has a different type of function and how it reacts to your body. Protein synthesis is your body's way of taking inorganic protein, protein you're eating, and also organic protein into the stomach, right? Then it grabs that protein and slices it up and gets all the amino acids. Kind of like you have, like if you're building a house, right? You have a stack of like 4x8 sheets of plywood. You got your 2x4s. You've got your shingles for the roof. You got your, your Romex cable for electrical. You got your conduit. You got your air conditioning ducts. You got all these different elements that come together to form a house. Imagine all those different elements, all those things you can buy at Home Depot, right, are individual amino acids, right? Well, the body, once it comes into your gut, you break it down into all these different amino acids. So then when it's time to build something, like you're building a doghouse or something like that, you go to your amino acid store, being a Home Depot, and you buy, a piece of wood for this, some nails for that, some glue for that, all of which are amino acids. You put them all together to form a doghouse, a protein for that specific function. Does that make sense? And the way in which your body does that is based off a genetic code being your DNA. So different DNAs are going to grab these amino acids that we all have, all the same amino acids, and formulate them into different things. Things being like when I cut my fingers off, forming different nail matrices and skin and veins and stuff to regrow the body. That's all protein stuff. Essential in the working organism of the body. Proteins are everything. How much protein do we take? Well, they say at least 1 gram per pound, right? So if you're 200 pounds, it's 200 grams a day. Now, I say a little bit more. I say you cannot overdose in protein, although some people say you can. Well, if you do overdose in protein, what's happening to you? The side effects are pretty minimal, meaning you have gas, your body would just excrete the protein through gas form, or you'll just be really, really dehydrated, or it can go through a liquid form of diarrhea. That's too much protein. So if you're having all that shit happen, it means you're having too much protein, which is not really that you're having too much protein, it's just that you're not using all the protein you're putting in your body in a daily activity level, meaning you only need this much protein because your activity is that much. But you're bringing in this much protein, so the remainder is just getting either shitted out, diarrhea, gassed out through farting, or it's just going to start dehydrating you. Easy fix, you drink more water. Okay, so what I'm trying to say, there really isn't any danger of having too much protein. I'd rather have too much, and then fulfill my body and what it needs, than have too little. Alright, let's get into the different types of proteins. The proteins I'm talking about are the actin and myosin type proteins that we're trying to rebuild muscle growth with. That's what everyone's talking about when Nick writes in. That's what he wants to know. How do you get bigger, and what types of proteins, and how much protein, and everything else. Well, there's a lot of different types of proteins that are in a supplement form for muscle building. And it's almost confusing because not only are there a lot of different types, there's a lot of different brand types too. And each brand tries to make it their own, tries to reinvent the wheel, even though it's the same basic function, right? They put a little twist on it here or there to make you feel like it's something special, this or that. But when it comes down to it, there's whey protein, there's whey isolate protein, there's casein protein, there's soy protein, egg protein, and a few others and stuff, but those are your main ones. So the differences between these things really come down to your end state goal and what you want to do. If you want to build size, if you want to lose weight, all different types of proteins. And the reason why is because the way these proteins act in your body, meaning a time release of the actual protein in your body, how fast it's absorbed or not absorbed. For example, whey protein is the fastest absorbing protein in your body. So if you think about that, whey protein, fastest absorbing, well, after I work out, I had that 45-minute window that's crucial. Whatever I put in my body is going to go right into the muscle. So I want to take a protein then that will go right to the muscles and enhance all the ripping of those proteins, those actin and myosin filaments, to grow them back stronger. The faster I get them in there, the more bang for the buck. Because that's the number one priority for your body once you've ripped them right after a workout. But when I say it's the fastest and most common being whey, and whey isolate is just a more pure form of the whey protein. Well, whey protein has all the proteins, but also has other elements and nutrients and vitamins within it. Whey isolate extracts all that stuff, and it's just the purest form, tasteless, colorless, form. Proteins also come in powders, liquids, and bars and stuff. So it comes in all forms. The powders are probably the lowest calorie intake proteins. The liquids are going to be the fastest absorbing. They're going to get to your body a lot faster. The bars are going to be kind of a mix. But back to the protein things. So the whey protein and the whey isolate protein, very similar. One's more of a pure form of just the protein, where the other ones are the whey protein. It has a little bit extra. You can remember in that carb confusion thing I said, you got your train and your caboose, and you have all these different elements inside. Where the whey protein has more elements, where the whey isolate protein, the extract part, is just straight up the protein. Okay, and that's the fastest absorbing, the biggest bioactivity you can get for your body. Now, casein protein, which some of you guys probably never heard of, is the most ideal protein, the only protein you guys should be taking late at night. And why is that? Because it's a slow release protein. Does that make sense? Meaning it doesn't absorb right away into your body. It sits there and slowly, it's like a big tank, right? Like a gas tank in your car. The gas stays there until you need it. And when you hit the gas, it starts to give gas to the car to run it, right? Whereas a whey protein, it's like a big hole in the gas tank. So as soon as you pour it in, you must use it right away or you're going to lose it, kind of thing. It's use or lose kind of thing. Where a casein protein, and you need protein throughout the night, especially in that fast period, if you're going down for 8 hours, your body needs something to fuel itself, right? Casein protein is ideal for that because it gives a protein, in a time-release fashion to your body throughout the night, building it. An egg protein, for example, is probably the most natural protein out there, but there's two types there. There's the egg yolk, and then there's the egg whites. Your egg whites are extremely low fat and 0 carbs, where the egg yolk is just as good a protein, but it's got, again, that train, more nutrition in there, and fats. Fats are actually very healthy fats for you. You get into soy protein. Soy proteins are filled with, antibodies, to help with the immune system. It also helps to increase your estrogen levels, though, in soy protein. Meaning, that's the difference between a man and a woman. Testosterone levels, the estrogen levels. Both genders have testosterone and estrogen. The difference is that we have different levels of them. So in essence, people are like, oh, can I get man tits if I eat too much, if I take too much soy protein? Well, I guess mathematically, I guess you could. Could you ever eat that much to actually grow a man tit? I don't fucking know, man. I don't think you could eat that much. I don't think you're going to live that long to be doing all that stuff. But again, that's soy protein. And then egg proteins and milk proteins, which is a lot of whey protein and stuff. Casein protein, a good example of that is cottage cheese, for example. So there's different types of protein, and what I'm trying to say is there's different types of proteins depending on your activity and your goals. So I think, in my sense, that the best form of protein, right, is protein that is delivered directly into your body right after your workout. That's the most bang for your buck. Throughout the day, is it best to have a whey protein shake in the middle of the day? Huh? Probably not. Why? Because it's so fast absorbing, it goes right through you. So unless you use it, you lose it. So casein protein is probably better as a meal replacement protein as opposed to a whey protein. So these are all different types of proteins. Now, on the majority of the market proteins out there, it's a protein blend, meaning it has a little bit of all of these in there. So it has a little bit of whey, has a little bit of soy possibly, has a little bit of casein, has a little bit of egg proteins. It has all these in there so that no matter what you're doing, and right after the gym, boom, you get in the whey, but then you're using up all the whey, but then you got that casein protein slowly pumping in there throughout the day when you need it. Does that make sense? So it's the best of both worlds. But how do you know which one do you want? And also, let me tell you this too. I say this low, no carb diet. Protein is a form of energy in your body. That's all you have. If you are so carb depleted, your body will burn that energy through protein. So it's a 4-to-1 ratio practically is how it goes. When you're in extraneous activity, especially bodybuilding and stuff like that, you must have a carb for every 4 grams of protein in that lifting program. Otherwise, your body will start burning the protein, which is what we're putting in to rebuild, as energy source to recover, if that makes sense. We want the carbs in there to allow your body the energy to recover and allow your body the energy to use that protein to build the muscle. And hopefully I'm not losing you guys. There's a 4-to-1 ratio there as far as carb to protein in a pre, during, or post-workout meal. During the day, throughout, in between and after your workouts and stuff, in the morning or the evening, or hours before or after your workout, then you want to have more of a casein protein, if that makes sense to you. Okay, so now we've decided that pretty much all proteins are somewhat created equal in the blend, in these jugs that you can buy. So how do we know which one's right? Well, again, it really comes down to everyone is different. Everyone's got a different fingerprint. Everyone's got a different goal. Everyone has a different genetic code, a DNA genetic code. So once that protein comes in your body, and your body breaks that protein down into different amino acids to fill the shelves of the Home Depot within ourselves, when it goes to build something, the genetic code is going to build something differently. Like if I was going to build this desk, I would build it a different way than maybe somebody else would. That's the genetic code on how to assemble wood for a desk or amino acids for protein to build the structure, being a muscle or whatever it else is, to build my fingers back, to build, the muscles of the heart, to build the hormones that regulate my body, to build the hemoglobins for the antibodies that create the immune system. All those things come from amino acids in the genetic code, meaning we're all different. So you really cannot, if you're really serious about this, guys, you guys will go out and buy a little bit of all of them. Wouldn't you not? Why wouldn't you? And see which one works. I'm going to tell you right off the bat, whey protein is not the protein you want all day long. It is a protein you want right after your workout, or during your workout, or right before your workout, because it's so fast absorbing. Where the casein protein is very slow absorbing. That's the best time at nighttime. Now for soy protein and egg proteins and all these other types of proteins, yeah, give it a shot and see how your body reacts to them. But whatever protein you buy, guys, if it's not just natural food, organic food that you're buying and putting like fish and meat and poultry and cottage cheese and dairy products, stuff like that, outside supplementary protein, turn that motherfucker around and look at the nutrition facts on there, right? And then I want you to look at the serving size. I want you to see how many carbs are in there, and how much protein's in there. If it's more than 4-to-1, it's not the type of protein you want. It's more of a weight gainer. You're just trying to put on size. Last I looked, no one wants to just be a big old block, man. Unless you're in a power lifter. Again, it comes down to your goals. You see what I'm saying? If you're a power lifter, yes, you want that. You want all that energy, all that power. It's not about the aesthetics and how much fat you're carrying. It's how much weight you can lift. If you're a bodybuilder or a fitness model or a performance athlete, you're going to need more carbs as a performance athlete than you are as a fitness model, and even less carbs as a bodybuilder during competition time to really pull that thing out. So you got to find out what your goal is. But on the back of that thing, that 4-to-1 ratio as a fitness model is decent. That's a good number. I don't really go for too many carbs, but 4-to-1 is within the ballpark that I feel is okay for me as a fitness model, being 4 grams of protein to 1 gram of carb. But then you look at the serving size. So if you turn around a jug of I'm making up a name here, America's Best Protein, blend. A whey protein blend, meaning it has a little bit of whey, a little bit of casein, and everything else. And it says serving size, 1 scoop, right? And how much protein is in that? Well, the protein is 25 grams. And then how many servings per container? There's 10 servings. So the entire protein, the entire jar right there, 10 servings, 25 grams per serving, 250 grams in that jug, right? And that jug right there costs you $40. Boom, $40 for the net 250 grams of protein. Then you grab another one. This one's going to be called, Europe's Best Protein. In there you look at how many proteins per serving times the number of servings by how many grams per serving equals the content of protein throughout that jug, right? That divided by the price of it. Let's say this jug has 300 grams of protein, right? And it's $42. Boom. So we got one America's Best, which is 250 grams of protein for $40. Europe's Best, which has 300 grams of protein for the entire container for $42. Economically, now, the Europe one would be better. And I'm not saying Europe's better than America, whatever. These are just dumb examples, of names. But that's how you figure it out. So you take the amount of grams per serving, right, times by the number of servings per container, right? That gives you a number. divide that number into the price to get some kind of a whole number, right? The higher that number, the better the jug of protein. But I would definitely get a single jug of casein protein and then a single jug of whey protein. Those are your jugs that you're going to use more than anything else. That's what I do. I take whey protein right before my workout, after my workout really, and then during the day, man, if I'm snacking on something, I need a protein shake, like you're saying 4 or 5 times a day, I try to find more protein that's more enhanced with casein protein, that's slow release protein. And then I also look for the more bang for the buck, meaning besides just the protein, what else is this? And if it's a meal replacement, how many carbs are in there? How many vitamins? How much iron? How much calcium? All these things add up to build that train longer, to make it more efficient and more beneficial for my body. So I hope that answers your questions, guys. I mean, there's so much on proteins that you're going to see. I mean, I've been researching for hours on you guys because I want to make sure you guys know all this stuff. I mean, and I'm trying to make it, you know, stupid simple, you know. But I mean, there's countless material here. You can find it on the internet. You can find it through books and everything else. But you're really not going to find the best protein for you until you put it in your body and try it out firsthand. That's how it's going to be, guys, because everybody's different. Everybody has a different DNA, different genetic code that's going to formulate those amino acids into different protein bonds that's going to build you or not build you the muscle that you want. Because if you're taking the wrong protein, man, and this is crucial, if you're taking the wrong protein, if you're taking casein protein right after your workout, you're not going to get the results as fast as if you just took whey protein. So here you are doing all the effort, right? Your effort hasn't changed. You're maxed out, man. You're giving all you got. And you're only going so far because you picked the wrong protein. Well, you could have gone a little further and picked the right protein. Those little tiny things, after a month, you know, quarter, you know, year, grows into making the difference of winning and losing. And I shit you not. But it's fun too, and don't just take my word for it, guys. Seriously, I mean, I'm trying to give you everything I know, but I'm also trying to teach you that, yo, here's the fish dinner, but go learn to fish too. Because the more you learn to fish, the more you're going to learn the generalization information and then tweak it to make it a custom personally to what you are and what your goals are to get the most bang for the buck. You know, and that's how I did it. It's fun to research it. You're using your brain, your mind, you're thinking about things, you're learning your body, you know, and it's just, why go blindly through life, man? When the tools are out here, the information's out there. The only thing that's stopping between you know, being intellectually intelligent and being blind is your effort and thirst to learn, you know? You already got the thirst to get bigger. You already have the desire and that work ethic. Now let's fucking throw in the tools and the education to really enhance it so that one day's work is getting 5 days' work of effort as opposed to the 1 day's work that you had before getting maybe a day's work. Make sense? Okay. Again, long-winded as always, but I'm going to make these new blogs. Instead of video blog live, I'm going to call it the long-winded version of Greg hearing himself talk. Or whatever. Anyway, guys, coming to you from Vegas to Mr. Olympia. If you guys are around this weekend, man, I'll be at Metrics booth. Come check me out, man. If you got any questions, I'd love to face-to-face talk to you guys. Nothing gives me more pride and more, you know, more humility and respect and just to talk to you guys. You know, last year a bunch of people came up, and I love talking to you guys, man. So if you're around in the area, I'm throwing this blog up right now. It's Thursday night, so it should be up Friday. I got to do a photo shoot for Metrics and a commercial on Saturday afternoon. So I won't be at the booth for that part, but all day Friday and stuff. If you're around, man, hit me up. Greg Plitt. Thanks for watching. I'm out of here. We're gonna grow it this year, man. We're gonna make it all happen. Greg Plitt, help me stay fit. Thanks for watching.